Welcome back to Traveling Tonka and welcome to a 2-day trip around the city of Buenos Aires in Argentina. As you can see straight away from this first bit of footage, we've walked into a demonstration of sort. We were not entirely sure what it was at the time, but it's something to do with the medical centre, hospital around this area. They're obviously protesting against something, but we couldn't work it out. But it was a very big organised thing that they had going on throughout the city. I'm not sure if you can quite see from the video because it's a little bit dark. It was early evening at this point, but they're all covered in paint and there was smoke flares going off everywhere. There was a lot of paint being sprayed everywhere, and you can see it throughout the streets as we were walking around as well. Just before I get further into the video, I just wanted to let you know that some of the footage might look a little bit corrupted in places because I had some issues with it. I've tried to correct it as best I can because I had quite a lot of important footage on here, and I thought instead of just keeping it, I've tried to make it look better and upload it for you. So just if you notice a few things along the way, that is the reason why. We are just walking down from our apartment. We are around about 20 minutes from the main part of centre of Buenos Aires, but we were just walking down the first as we arrived, and it was around about 6 p.m. at this time. We are in the middle of July here as well, so it's winter time. The stop off in Buenos Aires just was a 2-day trip before we headed to Salta in the northwest, as you'll see in another video. We actually got here from Montevideo in Uruguay. We took the fast ferry across from there to arrive at the port in Buenos Aires. As we were walking down, we thought we'd stop off in this bar. It's like a craft brewery bar. It was really nice in there, and it was the first one that we saw on the way down, so we thought we'd stop and have a drink in there. Nice place. I'm not sure if you're aware on the money situation in Argentina, as the currency has been fluctuating for years, but it seems very stable at the moment. And also, you might have heard that you need cash everywhere you go. That really is not the case. In Buenos Aires, we pretty much paid for everything on the card, apart from our apartment, which they actually did want in cash. But that was also payable in dollars if you do not have the Argentinian pesos. Where we find ourselves now is the Avenida 9 de Julio. It's one of the most iconic avenues in the whole of Buenos Aires, and it's often cited as one of the widest avenues in the whole world, reaching up to about 140 metres across in some sections. In the distance down the bottom of the road there, you can't quite see on this, but you will later on, there's an obelisk, tall obelisk in the middle of the road that actually represents the Independence Day, which is July the 9th in 1816, hence the name of the street. This night we are actually booked in to go to a tango night, but we were just killing a little bit of time before we went to it and just having a walk round to see what's what in Buenos Aires. And also this was another bar that we went to, which was also very nice. Had a massive selection of drinks in here, so we spent a bit of time in here before we went on to the tango show. Something again I do want to mention is people have probably also believed that Buenos Aires is quite dangerous. We stayed in not far from Palermo, which is probably one of the better places to stay for tourists, so I did check this all out before we went. But we did walk and cover a big area of the city in and around where we were, and not once did we feel unsafe. Obviously, if you're going further out and into different neighbourhoods and stuff where you probably shouldn't be going as a tourist anyway, it is going to feel dangerous. But in and around here, I couldn't have felt safer, to be honest, even at night, and this was our first night there as well. So normally you're a little bit wary when you're walking around in that situation, but not at all here. Getting around is very easy. I mean, there's plenty of buses to use, but to be honest, they have Uber, and Uber's so cheap and a lot more convenient if you want to get about quicker around the city, because the city is massive and there's so many different districts to Buenos Aires. But we found Uber so easy to use, and also again, they didn't want cash in the car. You could pay on the app, so it's also safer, and you're obviously tracked in the vehicle as well. So it's, if you're on your own, it's definitely the best way to get around the city. So as you can see, Tango is written above this theatre right there, and that is where we are about to head. It's called Tango Porteño. I booked the tickets. I managed to get them the same day online through Get Your Guide, where I do use quite often to get these sort of experiences, because you could buy a package deal on there for the night. I actually thought it was a really, really good deal for what we got. We paid, it was around about £60 per person, but that included the meal, which was unbelievable. I mean, it's like 4 courses, and it included free drinks all night long also. I'd never been to anywhere like this or experienced anything like this in my life, but as you're in Buenos Aires, the home of tango, it would have been rude not to go to a show. It's not really my thing normally, but actually I quite really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if it was all the red wine and the lovely steak that we was having, but it was a really, really good experience, as you can see from here. I tried to capture little bits throughout the show. The theatre itself was beautiful inside. I mean, you can't quite see now because obviously it was dark. I didn't get much footage, but you can imagine the inside of a tango theatre. It was absolutely stunning visually inside there. Also, there is a slight dress code, but they're not that picky on it. There's no way I was going there in a suit or tie or tux or anything like that. You just got to sort of dress sort of smart and everything is okay. But if you're in Buenos Aires and thinking of doing this, and also, again, don't think it's your sort of thing, just book it, just do it. It's 2 or 3 hours out of your life if you don't like it, but the food and drink that you get there was absolutely amazing. The steaks that they cooked, it was just beautiful. Whether you're looking to book it online or out in the streets, though, there are so many different companies and different theatres that do these shows, so you'll just have to sort of have a look around and see which one works for you. They do different packages. I mean, ours was just a normal package, but that was more than enough for us. But you can get ones where you're probably getting better seating or, you know, a better different experience, but we just wanted the normal experience, and that was more than enough. But I would definitely recommend the one that we did. I mean, I can't compare it to other ones, but we had a really, really good evening here, and it was called Tango Porteño if you are looking for a recommendation of one that we've done. After we finished here, we actually went on to a nightclub called The Bow down near the port in Buenos Aires also. So just to let you know again, even though that was out the way, I had a really good time in there. I haven't got any footage of it, but I just wanted to let you know again, even though that was a little bit more remote, it felt incredibly safe there, and all the people inside that I met, including here and at the nightclub, all fantastic. This is the next day, and the area where our apartment actually is, a very local area. Next up, we visit the area of Caminito and La Boca. We actually did this with a walking tour, so you have to actually get to this area yourself, but we hired a group guide, which cost, I think it was only about £10 per person, maybe a little bit more than that, but not much at all, and it was definitely worth it to get explanations of the whole area. This is us just waiting to meet the rest of the group just before, but we thought we'd just have a little quick look around. To arrive here from where we're staying in Palermo in Buenos Aires, you definitely will want to get an Uber from there because it's about 20 minutes in the car, and the neighbourhoods around here are probably the ones that you hear about that are not as desirable as in the city centre. So if you're a tourist, it's probably not very safe to sort of cross the streets and get there on your own. It's definitely better to take the Uber. In the area around here as well, you know, you stay in the tourist areas when you come here, but if you sort of go off a few streets away, again, probably not best to do those on your own if you're not with anyone that knows the area or not with a guide. You know, this is now a tourist area, so it is catered for that. I would definitely recommend doing it with a guide as well, because there's a lot of history and a lot of things to learn from walking around here, and you just wouldn't know it if you did it on your own. You'd be walking around looking at all the colourful buildings and enjoying the sights and that, but the actual history of the area is quite important, so it's good to get an insight into that. Where we're sort of congregated around this area and just outside here, it's sort of like the main bit when you first come to meet people. This is the start off point, and this was actually the start of our tour, looking out over to the harbour. It's actually really nice around here, and you'll see here they are making a real effort to keep the area in the water clean, because the water is filthy with all that plastic and rubbish, but they are trying different systems to try and clean it up. As we're walking along here, and you can see that sort of transporter bridge in the background there, the lady guide who did the tour told us that is your marker. You should not go any further of that, because the neighbourhood's probably not as safe up there. As we're walking around amongst all the colourful buildings and pictures, you're probably seeing pictures of Diego Maradona and Lionel Messi. There's a lot of homage being paid to them in this area, especially Maradona, as he was brought up not in La Boca but in a neighbourhood not too far away from here, and he played for them when he started his career, so he's a bit of a hero. Lionel Messi has never played for him, but he has always expressed his delight at the club and Argentinian football, and obviously he's one of the most famous and prolific best footballer Argentina has ever produced, so everyone wants to be linked to him. So walking around this area now, there's a lot of artwork on display all throughout these tiny little streets. I mean, you must see the difference of the buildings and the houses. They're so unique. There's probably nowhere in the world, I've never seen anywhere that looks like this neighbourhood at all. Amongst all walking around it as well, there's lots of street performers doing things. I mean, there was an actual guy that was walking around that looked identical to Maradona, which was quite funny as well. But also you've got restaurants and places where you can have drinks as well on one street. There's a little hut just up the road from here, which you might see in a minute. I can't remember if it was there, but it's in amongst that little courtyard there where they're selling lots of different empanadas again. This tour was actually about 2 hours long, which is probably enough to go around the area and see everything that you need to see. But, you know, the tour finishes in La Boca anyway, so if you actually do want to stay and spend a bit more time there, you can. You don't actually have to leave because you have to get a bus or anything. You meet the tour guide there, start and finish, so you can sort of go around and spend as much time you want, have a few drinks, experience. There's some dances on the street doing the tango again, all great to watch and, you know, sort of observe throughout the afternoon. You'll see in a little bit where we'll come up and you'll see the La Boca Stadium. I mean, I'd have loved to have done a stadium tour around that. And also afterwards, I only realised that there was a game that day, so they don't do stadium tours for that day. But it would have been nice to actually go and experience a match in the evening, but there was no tickets left for that, unfortunately. This was one of the main streets where the bars and restaurants as such were, where most people were congregated, and sort of there's a bit more lively down this bit. But yeah, it was all good to walk through. And again, like I said, you don't have to worry about safety or anything. It doesn't feel like that at all. I'm guessing maybe if you come here in the evenings or later in the day, it might be a bit different. I mean, this is probably around about 11 o'clock in the morning, I think. Again, round here, we didn't have any problems paying on our card. People always say carry the cash around, we should just have that with you, but we used card when we had some dinner there and we had some drinks there as well, which we also paid with card. It was just nice to experience something totally different and sort of like walk around this neighbourhood, because there isn't really anywhere like this that you can probably walk around and get a look at in Buenos Aires, and it's so different to the main area and probably like the more upmarket areas of like Palermo, Recoleta, which we'll go to later on when we visit the cemetery. Just something I wanted to mention while we're just seeing out this area and before we visit the next area. We did this amazing rooftop barbecue, which is called an asado. I haven't got any footage of it because it was a bit private and intimate. It was about 8 of us in a group with 2 people that hosted the evening, and they cooked all this amazing meat and we had all this amazing wine, and it was just a great evening. And I would definitely recommend that if you're visiting Buenos Aires to definitely book onto that. It's a specific one. It's on Get Your Guide, and yeah, you go there for like 3 or 4 hours, and you know, and it just take you through a whole experience of having this asado, basically, which is the all different types of meat. It was fantastic. And they were pairing the wines with the different courses that you have, and it was great also because we were with 6 people that we didn't know from different countries, so it gave us a chance to, you know, have a good chat with those and experience some more cultures in a setting that we would not normally be in. But I couldn't recommend doing that more. It really, really was that good. So as we're leaving this area, we head back into Buenos Aires we had a bit of time to kill because we had a tour booked at the Recoleta Cemetery, but we had a bit of time to kill, so we thought we'd go and see some more of this fantastic city. So where we're heading now, if any of you are familiar with the film Evita, then you'll know this area and you'll know the significance of the balcony. I've never actually seen it, but I'm aware of the story and the Peronist movement, etc., and things like that. But as you look to the left here now, this is Casa Rosada, the presidential palace in Buenos Aires, from where Eva Perón made her famous speeches off the balcony just up there. The whole area which we're in now is the Plaza de Mayo. It was so nice just to have a walk around here. It wasn't that busy actually. Like, I don't know whether again is because it's winter time in Argentina, it's July, but we just got the best weather. It was bright, clear blue skies and sunshine. It was fantastic. So it was so nice to be able to walk around here. From everywhere that we walked around in the daytime, especially that we were able to see and get a look at, it very much reminds me of Madrid. It's just on a far, far bigger scale than there. But these are the type of buildings, if you've been to Europe or into Madrid, you will definitely see a lot of similarities between the two cities. For a capital city, obviously, just language wise, there's a fair bit of English spoken, but if you're used to just travelling around Europe where English is widely spoken, then you might be a bit shocked by the lack of it here. There is people that do it, and obviously younger people speak it more, but it will definitely help even here to have a basic knowledge of Spanish to get by, because it is not as well spoken as you would think it would be. As you can see walking around though, we have actually already covered quite a few areas around the city, but I think if you really wanted to get a deep dive into everywhere and around, you definitely need more than the couple of days that we had there. But it was enough for us to get a scale of what it's like to be there as a tourist, and maybe even to live there for a little bit. But yeah, if you want to see more of the different areas, you're definitely going to need to spend more time here. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the capital cities to stay in as such, because most of the time they are pretty similar. This one definitely has a lot more character to it and is different to many that I've been to previously. This was a stopgap for a couple of days as we were on the way to Salta in northwest Argentina after here, and we'd just come from a couple of days in Uruguay, so it was just nice to be able to experience as many different places as we can in short time that we had to visit. Just a note on that, there are two airports in Buenos Aires, and one is right in the centre where we are now, which most of the international flights come into, but there's another one that is about 45 minutes out of the city, which is what we actually used to get to Salta because it was a domestic flight. So just be aware of that when you're booking flights in and out of Buenos Aires, because you might get confused and not realise that one's a lot closer than the other. That said, it was very easy to get to because we just got an Uber from Buenos Aires to Ezeiza, I think is what it's called. That's the one further out. It was about 45 minutes, but it was only like 10 to 15 pounds in an Uber. That said, if you are going in the daytime, definitely allow a lot longer, because the traffic in and around the city can be pretty busy. So we flew early in the morning, so the traffic, it was straight there, but you will have to allow a lot extra time if you are going to the further out airport from the city in the day. So here we are at the Recoleta Cemetery. This is the last tour that we did in Buenos Aires, and this was towards the end of our day. We booked to go on a guided tour around here with someone, because you'd literally just be walking around here looking at mausoleums and tombs and not really know anything about it. So it is definitely a must to book it to do with a guide. That was about, I think, about £10 or £12 per person, again, just for the tour. So you do need to buy the entrance tickets to get into here. I think it was around about £15 per person. It might have been a little bit less, but I can't quite remember that one. And again, we paid on card, although there was another member of our group that did have troubles with their European cards, so we had to help them out and use ours. But as a rule, I'm guessing most Visas and MasterCards do actually work. We got lucky with our guide because she was just brilliant in explaining everything, because you can imagine it can probably get a little bit monotonous walking around here looking at the same thing over and over again, even though it is fantastic and they're all very different. She did a very good job of highlighting the real important ones to look at and talk about and keep us all engaged. Again, we were probably round here, it probably wasn't far off 2 hours by the time we finished. The cemetery itself is one of the most famous in the world because, as you can see, I bet there's not many places that have this type of mausoleums and tombs. So yeah, I've never seen anything like it before. There's some elaborate statues and lavish mausoleums. You just don't get that anywhere else. You won't be picking up the scale of the actual cemetery as a whole either from this video. It is massive. It just goes on and on. You'll just corridors and different avenues of different statues and mausoleums. It's unbelievable, really. I've never seen anything like it. It really is something that you should visit if you're here, just to walk around it and just see what it is like, because like I say, you probably wouldn't have experienced this anywhere you've been before. I mean, most people just come here because obviously it has one of the most famous residents in Eva Peron. Generally speaking, though, obviously everyone that has a place in here will have money. This definitely reflects the sort of social hierarchy in the area, because this is not where your average person will be buried. As you can tell, you'd need a significant amount of money for some of these mausoleums to be built. I booked this tour on Get Your Guide again, and I definitely, if you're looking at booking it, definitely don't hesitate. It's, as much as you probably think it's too long to walk around there, it really isn't. It's actually so interesting. I mean, I didn't think I would be able to last that long, especially at that time of the day, taking in all this information that, generally speaking, you probably don't normally associate with yourself, but it is definitely worth it. And like I say, this is probably a once in a lifetime thing as well. So as you saw on the sign there, this is the one where Eva Peron is buried, and it's quite busy down here, so you don't get a lot of chance to do it. There it is right there. I tried to record as much as I could of it. It's clearly different to all the others. There's flowers, live flowers on there. They obviously get changed quite often. I don't know if it's by people that just come and do it themselves, or if it's family members or what. I don't actually know that. But Family Duarte is the name before she became a Peron as well, also. Just as we're coming to the end of the tour here, and also the visit in Buenos Aires, I just wanted to say really that I would highly recommend coming to this city. And also, if you've had some fears about visiting through safety or through anything else that might put you off, really don't. I couldn't have felt safer there, and the people were really friendly, and it was definitely not the impression that I had been given before I went there. But now, after visiting it, I wouldn't hesitate going back there. One last thing, as we're about to come out of the Recoleta Cemetery, there's a couple of lovely food places opposite, and a really cool bar with a sort of rooftop terrace that looks over this. That is this bar here. You can't miss it. It's right opposite the entrance. It looks over the Recoleta Cemetery and the area as a whole. So it's like a craft brewery. Very nice. With that, I will bid you farewell, and I want to thank you once again for joining me and checking out my videos. I'll see you soon.